Maybe you've been in this moment. You ask a simple question and suddenly her tone changes. Her eyes shift or she gets defensive out of nowhere. You can feel the distance, but you can't put your finger on why. That's not paranoia, it's your instincts telling you something's off. The danger is when you let those instincts get buried under charm, excuses, and guilt trips. Because women who want to hide the truth are masters at turning the spotlight back on you. But here's the good news, they can't outrun the right questions. In this video, I'll share 7 questions that corner dishonesty, force real reactions, and reveal what's really happening behind the curtain. Once you know these, you'll never be left doubting in silence again. Before I give you the first question, here's your reminder. Dishonesty doesn't scream, it whispers. It hides in the pauses, the defensiveness, the over-explaining. That's why you can't afford to miss what's coming next. So, subscribe, like this video, and leave a quick comment if you've ever felt something was wrong but couldn't prove it, because the very first question I'm about to reveal is the kind that turns whispers into undeniable proof. Number 1, where were you last night? It looks like the simplest question in the world, but simplicity is the trap. A woman who is honest will always have one version of reality. Her details line up because she isn't working to remember a script. She's living the truth. But when someone is hiding something, that same question becomes a razor. The first time you ask, she'll have an answer prepared. The second or third time you ask at a different moment in a different mood, the cracks start to show. Lies are heavy, and it takes effort to carry them. Here's how it works. You don't interrogate like a police officer. You drop the question casually, almost like small talk. One night you ask, "Where were you last night?" She says she went to dinner with a female friend and then they watched a movie at her place. Fine, nothing suspicious. But 2 nights later, you bring it up in another context. "Oh, your friend called earlier. How was dinner with her on Monday?" If the story is true, she'll recall it with ease. The restaurant, the food, the atmosphere. If it's false, the story shifts. Suddenly, dinner becomes just a quick coffee, or she claims she doesn't remember which day it was. Maybe she even snaps back. "Why are you asking again? Don't you trust me?" That defensive reaction isn't protection, it's projection. The mistake most men make is asking once and taking the first answer at face value. But liars rely on your short memory and your need for peace. They hope you won't revisit the story. By repeating the question across time and context, you force consistency. And consistency is where truth lives. Take one case. A woman claimed she went out with a female friend and a coworker. Later, when her partner casually asked about the coworker, she struggled to remember what she'd said before. That gap wasn't random. It was the strain of carrying a lie. You don't need anger or confrontation. You need patience. You listen, you collect, you compare. If the story changes, if the details evaporate, the truth is already in front of you. So remember this, it's not about the question, it's about the replay. Ask again in different ways at different times. A man who listens twice will see what the first answer tried to hide. Number 2, why didn't you answer my call? Every man knows the sting of dialing a woman and watching the screen light up with no response. Sometimes it's innocent. She's in a meeting, her phone's in her bag, she didn't hear it. But when the pattern repeats, when it happens at the same times, or when the excuses start to pile up, this simple question becomes a test of loyalty. Here's the psychology. A woman who's telling the truth doesn't need a novel to explain herself. She'll say, "My phone was on silent," or "I was driving." Short, clear, believable. But a woman who's hiding something, her answers stretch. Suddenly you get a 5-minute story about how she left her phone in the locker at the gym, how the gym was unusually crowded, how she lost track of time, how she was exhausted, and on and on. That flood of unnecessary detail is not clarity, it's cover. Another red flag is defensiveness. Instead of answering your question, she throws it back at you. "Why are you always calling when I'm busy?" Or "Can't I have one evening to myself?" Notice what happened. You asked a question about her behavior, and somehow you're now on trial. That's manipulation. A woman with nothing to hide doesn't need to make you feel guilty just for asking. And here's the killer. Contradictions with social media. She claims she was too busy to answer. Yet during that exact hour, her Instagram story shows her posting selfies or commenting on someone else's post. If she had the time to scroll, she had the time to send a two-con text saying, "I'll call you later." Silence in your direction, but activity online. That's not distraction. That's choice. Consider this example. A woman claimed she missed her boyfriend's calls every Thursday evening because she was at her book club with phones on silent. Reasonable until her social media activity told a different story. During the very hours she claimed she was unreachable, she was liking posts and viewing stories. The book club existed, yes, but she wasn't there the entire evening. She was slipping out early to meet someone else, keeping her phone in her hand for social media, but ignoring his calls. Understand this. Missing one call is nothing. Life happens. But consistent unavailability paired with shaky explanations is a signal. You're not asking this question to be controlling. You're asking because consistency is the currency of trust. So the next time you hear, "I couldn't answer, I was too busy," don't focus only on the words. Look at the length of the explanation, the tone of the defense, and whether her digital life tells a different story. Truth is brief. Lies take time. Number 3, who are you with? This question slices through the fog of vague explanations. Most people, when asked who they were with, naturally share names, faces, little details. "I grabbed a drink with a college friend." "You met him at my birthday last year." That's normal. It's human. But when a woman is hiding something, the details suddenly vanish. All you get is just some friends or a few people from work. Here's the psychology. Lies thrive in vagueness. Specifics can be checked, verified, or challenged. A liar avoids that risk by keeping things blurry. But truth likes to be remembered. When a person is honest, they often provide more than you even asked for because they aren't afraid of follow-up questions. Watch the body language when you ask. A woman with nothing to hide will look you in the eye, answer comfortably, maybe even smile. A woman covering something up often avoids eye contact, shifts in her seat, or suddenly acts irritated that you asked. The body doesn't lie as easily as the mouth. Here's a strategy. Circle back later. If she says, "I was out with a female friend and a coworker," then 2 days later you casually drop, "How's that coworker doing? You mentioned them the other night." If the coworker was real, her answer will come effortlessly. If the coworker was fiction, she'll scramble, stall, or even forget she mentioned them. That's the beauty of this question. You don't need to catch her in the moment. Time does the work for you. Another layer of protection, mutual friends. If she claims she was with someone you both know, you can verify without raising alarms. For example, you mention casually to that mutual friend, "Heard you two had fun last week." If they look puzzled or deny it, the story unravels instantly. One case stands out. A woman always claimed she went out with her coworkers every Friday night. But when her partner met those coworkers at a company event, none of them ever mentioned such outings. Her vague "just coworkers" excuse was nothing but cover for another life she was hiding. Understand this. The question isn't about controlling her social circle. It's about clarity. If she resists giving you names, gets defensive when you press gently, or offers only fog instead of faces, she's signaling something. Relationships are built on accountability. If she can't even name who she spent her time with, what else is she hiding? So, never underestimate this question. Who are you with is not just small talk. It's a mirror. Honest company is easy to name. Lies, however, can't handle the light of specifics. Number 4, why do you seem distant lately? This is not a question about schedules. It's about the heartbeat of the relationship. When a woman begins to pull away, less conversation, less affection, less energy, you feel it before you can explain it. And here's the truth. Emotional distance rarely shows up without a cause. If she's being honest, she'll usually have a specific explanation. Stress at work, a family issue, health concerns, real-life problems that drain her energy. These answers come with context, details, and often an apology. "I know I've been distracted. My mom's in the hospital, and it's weighing on me." The honesty is tangible. She connects the dots for you, and she's open to your support. But when the distance comes from somewhere else, another man, a hidden investment of attention, the response shifts. Instead of context, you get deflection. She'll deny the distance. "I'm not different. You're just being clingy." Or she'll turn the spotlight on you. "Why do you analyze everything I do?" That's not an answer. That's an attack. It's a way of shutting down your intuition and making you question yourself. Another sign, overcompensation. The moment you ask, she suddenly floods you with affection, texts, or smiles. But it doesn't last. A few days later, the coldness returns. That roller coaster isn't real intimacy. It's a performance designed to cover tracks. Here's where you must be sharp. Don't settle for vague phrases like, "I've just had a lot on my mind." Press gently. What exactly has been bothering you? If the story has no timeline, no concrete weight, then it's likely not the real reason. Genuine stress has fingerprints, deadlines, names, events. A cover story does not. In one case, a man noticed his wife growing colder by the week. Conversations shrank, physical affection dwindled, and shared activities no longer sparked joy. When he asked why, she said work stress. But when he offered to help, take over chores, plan a weekend getaway, she declined every solution. That's when it clicked. It wasn't stress stealing her energy, it was her attention invested elsewhere. Men often ignore emotional distance, hoping it will fade. That's a mistake. Distance is not neutral, it's directional. If she's not bringing her energy to you, it's going somewhere else. So pay attention, ask the question, and don't be fooled by deflection or temporary sweetness. Emotional withdrawal is one of the earliest signs of betrayal. And if you feel it, don't gaslight yourself. Your intuition is usually right. Number 5, can I see your phone for a minute? In today's world, a phone is more than a device. It's a diary, a social circle, and a record of habits. That's why this question is so revealing. It's not about what you might find on the screen. It's about her reaction in the moment you ask. A woman with nothing to hide treats the request casually. She might hand it over without hesitation or explain quickly if she's in the middle of something. Sure, let me finish this text first. Her response is calm, proportional, and free of drama. She doesn't act like you just accused her of a crime. But when secrets are buried in that device, the body speaks before the mouth does. Watch closely. Does she instinctively pull the phone closer to her like a shield? Does her posture stiffen, her face tighten, her voice rise? These unconscious reactions happen before she has time to control them. A guilty phone owner doesn't relax. She panics. Common verbal red flags include, "Why do you want to see my phone?" Or, "Don't you trust me?" Notice how these aren't answers. They're counterattacks. The goal is to make you feel ashamed for asking instead of focusing on why she's so unwilling. Another variation is conditional compliance. You can look later or after I clean some things up. Translation: she needs time to erase the evidence. The most extreme response is outright outrage. Absolutely not. I can't believe you'd even ask. That level of fire over such a simple request tells you the truth. She's hiding something she cannot risk you seeing. Someone with normal privacy concerns will set boundaries calmly without theatrics. But when fury explodes, it's because the phone is loaded with secrets. Here's a smart tactic. Don't frame the request as a search. Instead, make it practical. Can I use your phone to call my brother? My battery's dead. Or can I check the weather real quick? If she hands it over easily, that's transparency. If she creates obstacles, why not wait till later? Or just charge your phone instead. Those excuses are the real signal. Consider one example. A man used this exact method. He asked to borrow his girlfriend's phone to check an address. Her entire body tensed. She clutched the phone like it was gold and snapped. "Use your own." That reaction told him more than any text message ever could. Remember this. You're not hunting through her apps like a detective. You're observing her comfort level with access. Trust doesn't panic. Secrets do. Number 6. Why are you dressing up more than usual? Clothing tells a story long before words do. When a woman suddenly changes the way she presents herself, new outfits, more makeup, extra time in front of the mirror, it raises an important question. Who is she trying to impress? A woman with honest intentions will usually explain these changes with clarity. Maybe she got a promotion and wants to look more professional. Maybe she lost weight and is feeling proud of her progress. Maybe she simply wants to reinvent her style for her own confidence. These reasons make sense and they come with enthusiasm. She'll tell you about the new blouse she bought for work or the haircut she's been wanting for months. Real motivation carries details, but when the explanation is vague, "I just felt like it." Or when the response turns defensive, "Why can't I care about how I look?" That's a different story. Defensiveness is often the shield for a hidden agenda. And the real red flag isn't just the change in appearance, it's the timing. If she invests more effort in how she looks for outings without you, yet makes minimal effort when she's with you, That's not self-improvement. That's redirected energy. Here's what to watch for. The mismatch between occasion and effort. Suddenly spending an hour getting ready to run errands but throwing on sweats for dinner with you, putting on perfume to visit family but showing up barefaced when you go on a date together. The pattern isn't about the clothes. It's about where her attention is flowing. In one instance, a man noticed this shift with his girlfriend. For months, she was casual when they went out together, but before grocery runs, she began dressing sharply, doing her hair, even applying lipstick. When he asked why, she brushed it off. But the truth surfaced later. Those errands included detours to meet someone else. The effort wasn't for him. It was for the new audience in her life. You don't need to confront with accusations. You simply need to observe. Honest changes in appearance are transparent, shared openly, even celebrated. Secretive changes are defensive, mismatched, and selective. So when you notice the shift, ask the question. Listen not just to the words, but to the tone. Genuine motivation shines through with clarity. Hidden attraction hides behind irritation. Never forget appearance is currency. When she spends more of it outside your relationship than within it, she's showing you exactly where her priorities now lie. Number 7. Why do you keep saying, "I don't trust you"? This question flips the script. When a woman feels cornered, she often reaches for one of the oldest tricks in the book, projection. Instead of answering your concerns, she accuses you of being the problem. You don't trust me. You're controlling. You're always suspicious. Suddenly, the spotlight is off her behavior and shining on your supposed flaws. Here's the psychology. People who are guilty often use deflection because it buys them time. If you're busy defending your trustworthiness as a partner, you're not pressing them on the real issue. It's a smoke-ocracy screen. But when you throw the question back, why do you keep saying, "I don't trust you?" You force her to explain the accusation. And that's where the truth slips. An honest woman might pause, reflect, and say, "You're right. I've been defensive lately. I need to think about why." That's transparency. She's willing to examine herself and meet you halfway. But a woman hiding something, she doubles down. Because you're always on my case. Because you make me feel like a criminal. Notice the vagueness. No specific examples. No concrete behavior from you. Just broad claims designed to make you feel guilty. If she can't pinpoint when or how you supposedly distrusted her, it's because the issue isn't you. It's her conscience. Here's a tactic. Calmly ask, "What exactly have I done that makes you think I don't trust you?" If she struggles to answer, if she dodges, if she spirals into more accusations, you've exposed the projection. Real grievances come with dates, situations, memories. Manufactured ones fall apart under scrutiny. In one case, a man's girlfriend constantly accused him of being suspicious, even though he rarely questioned her. When he finally asked why she kept bringing it up, she couldn't provide a single example. It turned out she was projecting her own guilt. She was unfaithful, and her constant, "You don't trust me," was her way of masking that reality. Understand this. A woman who brings up trust more than you do is usually fighting her own battle with it. She's not reacting to your lack of faith. She's revealing her own lack of honesty. So when you hear that phrase again and again, don't get defensive, don't fall for the guilt trip. Ask the question, watch her reaction. If she can't explain it clearly, the issue isn't your trust, it's her truth. Now, you've seen it. 7 questions that act like scalpels, cutting through excuses, vagueness, and emotional games. These aren't tricks to play detective in your relationship. They are mirrors. Each one forces a moment of truth. Not through confrontation, but through consistency, observation, and calm strength. Understand this. You're not asking to police her, you're asking to protect yourself. A man who ignores patterns, who dismisses his gut, who silences his own instincts, becomes easy prey for manipulation. But a man who listens carefully, asks clearly, and observes patiently, he can't be deceived for long. Think back through these 7 questions. They aren't about proving her guilty. They're about giving her the chance to show where she really stands. Honest women will meet you with clarity, detail, and openness. Dishonest women will meet you with fog, defensiveness, and guilt trips. The contrast is so sharp, it's impossible to miss once you know what to look for. And here's the real lesson. The answers matter less than the reactions. Watch how she responds. Does she relax or does she panic? Does she give details or does she attack? Does she welcome clarity or run from it? That difference tells you everything. Don't let your emotions blind you. Don't let affection rewrite reality. And don't wait until betrayal shatters you to start protecting your heart. You can't control another person's loyalty, but you can control your awareness, your boundaries, and your decision to stay true to yourself. If you've been watching this and thinking, this is exactly what I needed, then it's time to take the next step. Hit that subscribe button right now. Share this video with another man who might be walking blind into the same storm. Drop a comment below about which question hit you the hardest. Your story could wake someone else up. And don't forget to like this video so more men can see it before it's too late. Because here's the truth. Trust isn't about closing your eyes and hoping for the best. Trust is about seeing clearly, asking the right questions, and refusing to be played. Don't wait until you're broken to learn how to defend yourself. Protect your heart today because if you don't, no one else will.